Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This video is gonna be by the Muslim mom. She's really good too. I like her videos, you know, the fact that she like to compile podcasts and stuff like that together and go a little further into it. With that being said, Tucker Carlson shocked as Jewish lawyer revealed there is no Muslim-led Christian genocide in Nigeria. Surprise, surprise, ladies and gentlemen. You see, this is why I didn't buy into the whole bullshit of, oh my God, we care so much about the Christians in Nigeria. You don't. Oh my God, we care about the people in Sudan. You don't. You don't. The only reason they want to speak about it now is simply because the heat has calmed down. As came, they want to take the heat off of the real perpetrators of what's really going on in Africa, especially in Sudan. That's the whole reason why. You know what I'm saying? The genocide that's going on right now in Palestine, yeah, they don't want you to focus on that anymore. They want you to focus on Nigeria. What do you think President Trump says that, oh, he's going to send troops to go ahead and, stop the genocide in Nigeria among Christians? And it's like, you know what I mean? So not only are you funding the war in Israel, now you want to send troops in Nigeria. And then, obviously, you already have, you're trying to send troops into Venezuela.
Tell me what the actual truth of Christian persecution in Nigeria is. People who clearly have no track record of being interested in Christians at all. And all of a sudden, everybody's concerned.
As a Jew, I have sought refuge in churches or mosques. This is not targeted at Christians. There are probably an equal or more number of Muslim deaths. What's interesting is they're calling it a genocide. That is absolutely not a genocide. You have a government richly populated by Christians.
And did you guys hear anything about Trump saying that I'm going to send troops to go ahead and stop the killing of the Muslims? These people don't give a fuck about human lives. God's my witness. They don't give a fuck about human lives. Because if they did, the war in Israel will stop. The Ukrainian war will stop. Sudan would have stopped. The only time they seem to give a fuck is when Israel is in trouble. When they want to go ahead and take the heat off of Israel, they want to say, hey, look at these people over here. They're being mass murdered. Why don't you focus on them? Look at Sudan. Look at Nigeria. Look at Congo. You guys think this is something new? You guys think this started yesterday? Africans have been killing each other for decades. Nobody gives a fuck. Experiments have been done on Africans. Africa is literally the hub of experiment. You don't believe me? Go talk to Bill Gates. They don't give a shit about Africans. They never did, and they never will. Why do you think they usurp the wealth of Africa to benefit themselves, and then they just give the crumbs to Africans and say, here you go, do what you want with that? They don't care. Like, they don't care.
Nigerians have no idea where this is coming from.
Salah channel. So please. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. So unless you live under a rock somewhere, in recent weeks, all of a sudden out of nowhere, a whole bunch of anti-Islam and pro-Israel social media accounts have been shouting about a supposed Muslim-led Christian genocide in Nigeria. I have personally spoken to fellow Muslims in Nigeria who deny this as being Islamophobic propaganda. And in turn, myself and our Nigerian Muslim brothers and sisters have been falsely accused of covering up what's going on over there. Cue Tucker Carlson, who with almost perfect timing provided a gem of a podcast that proves the Muslim claims on my side to be correct. Tucker, as a devout Christian, interviewed a Jewish lawyer who specialises in protecting Christian rights in Africa and confirmed there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria. I mean, it doesn't get any more neutral than that. Let's watch the first clip.
How did you, I think, grew up pretty liberal or left-wing Jewish guy, wind up being like one of the world's foremost defenders of persecuted Christians? Like, how did that happen?
Well, firstly, as a Jew, I am an inclusive person. If somebody has faith in God, almost any God, I respect that.
I feel the same way.
I have traveled all my life I have sought refuge during riots or whatnot, whether it be in churches or mosques. I just never feel proprietary and feel that all men of faith have a commonality to it.
So it's just an amazing story. Thank you, by the way, for doing it. I'm not defending Nigeria. I don't have strong views in Nigeria, but Nigeria has become famous in the last week as a country in which there's Christian persecution going on. I think there's been a lot of conflict between Muslims and Christians in Nigeria for, my whole life. But all of a sudden, it's a kind of centerpiece of the conversation. What is the truth? You've been in and out of Nigeria for how long?
50 years.
50 years. 1975. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's a long time. So you know Nigeria pretty well.
I do.
What is the truth about what's going on?
Well,
and I ask because you've got credibility. You know the country. Tell me what the actual truth of Christian persecution in Nigeria is.
Let's be very clear that the Nigerian government is populated by Christians and Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
I have represented in his earlier life the National Security Advisor of Nigeria when he was a young man, and he's a lovely individual. And caring and universally respected in terms of religious issues. Devout Muslim, but universally respected. I sort of have a half brother there. That family is a totally integrated family. Muslim, Christian. I spoke to the foreign minister before I came here because I wanted to get clarity on the government's position. Absolutely, let's be clear, President Tinubu's wife is a Christian pastor. This is not targeted at Christians. There are probably an equal or more number of Muslim deaths. Believe it or not, you can blame some of this on the French, who had this.
I do. I know nothing about it, but I believe you anyway.
Wow. Surprise. The French? They are part of this? Who would have ever guessed? Tell me something that I don't know.
They had a massive force in the Sahel. They armed the Tuaregs, which are a notoriously aggressive tribal group. That arming has led to mass killings of Christians. The fact that when Libya blew apart, a massive amount of arms went down to Boko Haram can't be denied by anyone.
First and foremost, Nigeria is a beautiful and proud nation, and nobody should be harmed over there, whether they be Muslim, Christian, or otherwise. This international human rights lawyer, who goes by the name of Bob Amsterdam, has been in and out of Nigeria for the past 50 years, as he said. And as a Jewish man who has strong ties with both the Muslim and Christian communities over there, to the point he has sought refuge in mosques and churches, as well as having family members of both faiths in Nigeria, tells me he is as impartial and trustworthy as it gets. I also very much admire the interfaith respect he shows to both Islam and Christianity, and I extend that to Tucker also. And with Bob's history of representing Christian rights in Africa, he clearly has no bias towards Muslims. As he revealed to Tucker, Muslims and Christians are pretty integrated in Nigeria, with the population being evenly split, so much so that the Muslim president's wife is a Christian woman. Tucker expressed suspicion at the sudden and very recent hype in the West around Christian persecution in Nigeria. Bob clarified that after speaking to Nigerian government officials, there is no specific targeted violence towards Christians. He also made the point that an equal, if not larger, amount of Muslims are being killed by the same extremist groups. This is exactly what my Nigerian Muslim guests have told me. I was, however, surprised to find out from Bob that the French are behind many of these deaths through funding rogue Nigerian militias, as well as extremist group Boko Haram, who we Muslims do not consider to be following Islam whatsoever, especially not when they're carrying out political assassinations of innocent people. The Christian Zionists and the pro-Israel crowd label Boko Haram as an Islamic extremist group, and since they are killing Christians, which is completely wrong, they claim these supposed Muslims are carrying out a Christian genocide. I would counter that with Boko Haram is killing more Muslims than Christians, so this is not a religion-specific issue. And if we consider that France, who Bob said are also behind many of these deaths, is a secular Christian country, using the Islamophobes' logic, it could be argued that it's the Christians committing a Muslim genocide in Nigeria. But we're not going to say that, because these French militias are also mass-killing Christians, so again, it's not religion-specific, and we're not partaking in shady Israeli propaganda tactics. However, this does explain some of my Muslim Nigerian guests' claims. The so-called Christians, who most likely belong to these French groups, are burning down mosques over there. Let's watch the next clip.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right here, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to watch the rest, right under here. Why am I not surprised? Wow. Not only is the UAE involved in the Sudani situation, France is involved in Nigeria. Yeah, guess what? Somebody else is involved in the Congo situation as well. You know what I'm saying? Now you see where I'm coming from here? They like to cause chaos here and there. You know what I mean? And then whenever it's beneficial for them to shift your attention toward one, that's what they do. And then when either they fix it, right? Or they want you to shift your attention somewhere else, that's exactly what they do. The ceasefire in Gaza did not even hold for 1 day. Did you know that? You probably didn't even know that, did you? Yeah, as we are speaking right now, over 200 Palestinians have already been unalived. But the Christians in Nigeria, oh, there's a genocide going on in Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't we focus on Nigeria? Oh, Sudan. Oh, look at Sudan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying these are problems that we should not focus on. These are equal with Palestine. Don't get me wrong. But what I do want to say is that this is a problem. Where is the root of the problem? Who's causing these damages? If people do not solve that, nothing will be solved. Absolutely nothing. If you have a bad tree and it's producing bad fruit, guess what? You have to see the environment. You have to find out, okay, let's go to the root of the problem. What's causing these bad fruits? And until you can figure that out, you're constantly going to keep producing more and more bad fruit. That's just the reality of things. That's how you solve problems. But people don't seem to want to solve problems like that. They always want to go ahead and pluck the bad fruit. And then they're constantly left wondering, why is there so many bad fruit? Because you're not going to the root of the problem, you moron. Yes, we have problems in Africa. Yes, we have problems in Palestine. Yes, we have problems in Ukraine. We have problem everywhere. What is the root cause of this problem? Let's figure that out before we try to solve all these problems. Because if you go to the root cause of the problem, I guarantee you the problem will start fixing itself like a domino. That's just how it is. Just look at the people in power. Look at the people who are sending weapons. Look at the people who are benefiting from these places. People are talking about Sudan this, Sudan that, but yet you rarely hear them about saying that the UAE is the one that's funding the RSF in Sudan. People are talking about, oh, genocide in Nigeria, Christians are dying in Nigeria, Muslims are dying in Nigeria, completely forgetting the fact that they're being funded by the French. Anyways, if you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and sub. I got a little bit heated, but I'll catch you guys up in the next video.